Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Carl is Famous. My name is Sizzlore. We did an episode previously where we got 3 endings, I think. But we see how many we can get today. So Carl wakes up, he's famous. We're going to skip the intro, I reckon. We've done this. Carl's first decision in the morning was made wisely. Exit the bed. Carl exited the bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. Let's scavenge and see what's around here. Carl quickly crouched down on the floor and realized his immediate need for bugs. Carl started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. Soon he had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive. Eat immediately or save for later use. We'll save it, I reckon. Carl stashed the wriggling mass for later. Okay, back to the bedroom. I think we do need to get dressed. The last episode we didn't get dressed and that kind of ended badly. So, open closets. Choose an outfit. It was dark and you could really see it. Okay, yeah. Choose an outfit. We're gonna go suit of armor. I don't think we did suit of armor last time. Carl was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his armor, but it felt like the right thing to do. It does kind of feel like the right thing. After much squeezing and sweating, Carl managed to wrap the metal suit around his dumpy self. Back to room. Let's go to the hallway. Carl walked into the small hallway that connects the rooms of his apartment together. Leave apartment, check locked door. What did we find in there last time? I can't remember. But we're gonna eat something, I think. Yeah, Carl walked to the center of the kitchen. Check pantry. Open fridge. We'll check the pantry. Carl wanted to access the pantry but found it was locked with a small keyhole. Back to kitchen. I don't know where the key is. It must be in the desk. Anyway, open fridge. Carl opened the fridge intending to find something to eat. Eat crust on the fridge wall. Eat the fridge. Prepare breakfast. Eat condiments. You know what? I'm gonna eat the whole fridge. Carl pointed his neck directly upwards and hoisted the fridge on top of his face. Somehow, miraculously, he wrapped his mouth around the device. He started to swallow. In one slow, horrible movement, the fridge slid down Carl's throat. Oh my word. After many gurgles, pops and snaps, Carl felt relatively sure the fridge would not come back out. Oh my word. Oh fuck. Okay, back to hallway. Only got 8 hours left. We'll leave the apartment and visit the neighbors. Carl approached the downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby opened the door. She looked at Carl expectantly. Greet and start conversation. Good morning, neighbor, said Carl cheerfully. Gabby looked at Carl expectantly. Ask Gabby about Gabby. Ask Gabby about Rachel. We'll ask Gabby about Rachel. We're interviewing Rachel. Gabby asked Carl, what are your true thoughts about Rachel May? Oh, Rachel, Gabby said. She's a wonderful woman. Her generous acts have inspired more good work than bad. Okay. Gabby trailed off, not meeting Carl's eyes. After several uncomfortable minutes of silence, Carl turned around and left. Oh, okay. Kind of ran out. Next time I'll have to get some more time. Carl hurried to the set. There you go. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. It's not a word. As Carl approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Good evening, Carl, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Carl responded. Scream and spin in circles. Answer politely. We're gonna spin in circles. We got a fridge in us and we got a suit of armor on. And now we're gonna spin in circles. Carl started to stretch out his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show. Fuck. After a moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Start broadcast. Good evening, everyone, said Carl, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle, introduced Rachel. Carl vomited all of the horrible things he had eaten earlier onto the floor. But it's a whole fridge. How did he get the stuff out the fridge inside his stomach? Okay. Rachel looked at Carl, concerned, gave a couple coughs and decided to play it cool. And kept the show running. Carl stopped, then vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice. Tonight I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Carl mentioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello Carl, she said. I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in, said Carl. I'm very ready, said Rachel with a winning smile. In shock, Carl realized he had never bothered to prepare any notes for the interview. Oh fuck. Knowing he had the eyes of millions upon him, Carl came up with a solution quickly. Blame Rachel for the lack of notes. Produce ball of bugs. Run away or play dead. Oh fuck. These are all pretty good. I reckon we got the bugs for a reason. We might as well use them. Well, Rachel, said Carl, I wanted to show this to you. Carl produced the ball of bugs he had accumulated from his bedroom floor. Rachel took several beats to figure out what Carl was holding in his hands. A look of horror crossed her face. Kyle, what on earth is that? She asked. Is it alive? Maybe, said Carl. Here, watch this. Carl, staring at Rachel, opened his mouth wide and slowly inserted the gooey ball of bugs. No, Carl, no, why? Why? Didn't you eat enough already? As Rachel watched, obviously unsettled, Carl began to chew very slowly and intently. Right. Attempting to swallow, Carl coughed several times, covering Rachel in partially chewed bugs. Rachel sat stock still, processing what had happened. Carl finished swallowing and opened his mouth to show that there were no bugs left. Well, that was satisfying, he said, smiling widely at the camera. Rachel got out of her seat and left the studio. End. Eating bugs, yeah. Okay, let's do it again. We're gonna exit the bed. And I think the key's here. Sit at the desk. Carl made his way over to the desk and sat down. Write notes for the interview. Back to room, checking the desk drawer. Carl opened up his side drawer on his bed and grabbed one of the items stored. Small key. Assorted change. Assorted key. Carl grabbed the small key and left, and then he kept in his desk. Back to desk. Checking the drawer. We'll take the change as well, I reckon. Carl scooped up the chains scattered around the desk drawer. Back to desk. Back to room. We do need to get dressed though. Open closets. Choose an outfit. Slick suits. Back to room. Exit bedroom to hallway. 16 hours left. We gotta check the locked door. There you go. Carl walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside. Oh wait, this is the wrong door. Wait, back to hallway. Go to kitchen. There you go. Go to pantry. Carl wanted to access the pantry, but found it was locked with a small keyhole. Unlock with small key. The pantry door lock creaked as if it hadn't moved in years, but eventually opened. Looking pantry. Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Carl's pantry stored a massive amount of bottle of lard. Oh yes, the lard. We'll chug a bottle of lard this time. Carl voraciously grabbed the closest bottle, snapped the neck against the wall, and sucked out all of the fat within a minute. Oh no. Chug another one. We only got 9 hours. We won't be able to make it, so we might as well chug another one. Carl wildly sucked down another bottle. He felt very sick. Vomit on the floor and stop. You know what? Whole 9 yards. Here we go. Carl's vomit and the lard were mixing in a way to make it hard to tell which was which. Oh no. Finish off the pantry, Carl. You could do it. As Carl finished the last bottle of lard, he felt a wave of accomplishment come over him. Return to kitchen. Return to hallway. And leave the apartment. This time, we only got 3 hours. I mean, I don't really think there's anything else to do. We'll visit the tech store. Buy batteries with change. Yes, we'll buy some batteries. Carl counted out $1.98 in pennies and nickels and traded them for a small packet of batteries. Back to tech shop. Carl walked into the tech shop. Okay. We returned to street. Just going to end up going to the studio. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous... Good evening, Carl, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Carl responded, screaming circles, answered politely. Man, I want to scream in circles. Carl started to stretch out his arms wide and tilted his neck upwards and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show. Right, let's start the broadcast. Good evening, everyone, said Carl. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone, said Carl, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Carl. Introduced Rachel. Carl vomited all of the horrible things he had eaten earlier onto the floor. Rachel looked at Carl, concerned, gave a couple of laughs, and decided to play it cool. Yeah, cool. And kept the show running. Carl stopped, then vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice. Tonight I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Carl mentioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Carl, she said. I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in, said Carl. I'm very ready, said Rachel with a winning smile. In a shock, Carl realized he had never bothered to prepare any notes for the interview. Yay. Knowing he had the eyes of millions upon him, Carl came up with a solution quickly. Blame Rachel for lack of notes, run away, play dead. We're gonna play dead. Carl slumped in his seat and played dead. Kyle, what are you up to? Asked Rachel, still smiling. Carl did not respond and hoped nobody would ask questions. Kyle, why are you pretending to be dead? Asked Rachel. I can see you breathing. Carl held his breath. The producer whispered to Rachel over her earpiece. Give him a couple of slaps across the face and see if he wakes up. Rachel got up from her chair, walked to Carl and slapped him firmly across the face. Rachel slapped Carl continuously, trying to get him to stop play acting. Other members of the crew stepped into frame to start slapping Carl as well. Soon Carl was lost in the amassment of people around him, all slapping his face with both hands. The slapping went on for many hours. Carl did not wake up. Oh fuck, is he dead or is he just that determined? Eventually Carl did not need to pretend to be unconscious. The dying. Oh man, they always end so well. Exit the bed. What are the batteries for? we're gonna go sit at desk, get the batteries. A sort of change. We need to buy the batteries at the sort of change. Back to room. Open closets. We do need to put something on though. This time we'll do skunk pasties. Right. What? Oh, getting the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Carl opted to stick them to his body with hot glue. Oh snap. Okay. We'll go to the hallway. I think we do need to eat though, only 18 hours. Move to kitchen. Open fridge. Eat condiments, we haven't done that. Eat some condiments. Carl started to grab condiments from the fridge, squirting them into his mouth with both hands. The rate at which ketchup, soy sauce and other items entered Carl's mouth soon eroded his ability to swallow. What is up with this guy? Carl spewed the excess condiments across the kitchen, covering the furniture and walls. What? Carl continued until all of the condiments had been emptied. Right, back to kitchen. Return to hallway, 10 hours still. Leave apartment. We'll visit the neighbors again. Carl approached his downstairs neighbor and knocked on the door. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. She looked at Carl expectantly. Greet and start conversation. Good morning, neighbor, said Carl cheerfully. Gabby looked at Carl expectantly. Ask Gabby about Gabby. Gabby, asked Carl, tell me about yourself. Gabby stiffened. Oh, you know, she said, putting on a fake smile. I just sit around here. Yes, I don't get around much. Never go out at night. I just stay here, right here. Gabby glared at Carl. Convinced by Gabby's statement, Carl bid her goodbye and returned to the street. It doesn't really matter what we do. Carl walked to the hallway, go back to the apartment. So, yeah, there's nothing gonna end up, yeah. I think the next run we'll skip everything, go out naked, don't eat anything. Let's see how much time we can spend with Gabby. Wait, that came out wrong. Okay, so Rachel sitting at the Okay, I've been looking forward to being here. Carl responded. Screaming circles, answered politely, I suppose. And I as well, Rachel, answered Carl, extending his hand in greeting. You are a most welcome guest. Shake hands. After another mild exchange of pleasantries, Carl and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good evening, everyone, said Carl, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Carl. Tonight I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Carl mentioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Carl, she said. I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in. I'm very ready. In a shock, Carl realized he hadn't bothered to prepare any notes. Knowing that he had the eyes of millions upon him, Carl came up with a solution very quickly. Blame Rachel, run away, play dead. Have you blamed Rachel before? Well, we will now. Blame Rachel. Rachel, I need to be honest. You're not terribly interesting, and I could not think of what I should ask you. In fact, continued Carl, I would far rather interview a fish than I would you. And furthermore, said Carl, I'm not sure I could tell the difference between you and a fish. Carl leaned back in his chair and desperately hoped the blame had been shifted adequately. Rachel glowered at Kyle. Glowered? Is that right? Okay, whatever. Kyle glowered back. Okay. Rachel left the studio. Cool, man. Carl no longer had a guest and spent the next 42 minutes staring at the camera silently. Carl prepared by blaming others. I think we can do one more. Let's go see what Gabby says. So I went through a couple more times. I just basically hit some dead ends. Hitting the same endings and stuff that we have already. I will try and look up what other endings we can get. I'll try not to spoil it for myself though. But thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.